It started with a tail flick. A single, innocent, or so I thought, gesture. We just wrapped negotiations between Earth and the Zalari Dominion. I was there as a translator, since their language required thought echo comprehension. Apparently, I was also there to unknowingly accept a royal marriage proposal. I wasn't briefed. No one told me Princess Velthari's backside was a culturally sacred invitation. All I knew was that it was impressive. Curved just right. Subtle shimmer across the scaled blue surface. And yes, I thought something. I didn't say anything, but I thought it. She heard me. Bold, she said, purring like a space feline engine. You find my hind aspect worthy of union? I blinked, half a second away from choking on a mouthful of synth coffee. Wait, what union? I accept, she interrupted, tail curling. The pact is sealed. You shall mount responsibility. By the time my translator pinged me the full cultural subtext, we were already being surrounded by a group of armored honor guards. Their spears glowed. So did my cheeks. My internal monologue was no longer safe. The problem with Zalari is that they don't understand sarcasm, metaphor, or personal boundaries. They read thought tone like humans read sarcasm, poorly. So when I mentally screamed, "Oh great, guess I'm marrying an alien now," she took it as solemn consent. I was escorted, politely but firmly, into what they called the nesting chamber, which sounded a lot like honeymoon suite, and imprisonment, had a one-night stand. It was plush, warm, scented with pheromone-stimulating spices I didn't ask for, and had a bed large enough to land a shuttle on. Velthari was lounging like she owned the room. Which, to be fair, she did. She was also not wearing much. Just golden loops around her tail, and a translucent wrap that failed to hide anything. You have strong thoughts, she purred, resting her chin on her claws. Your species is amusing. But your rear complementing instincts are appreciated. Ours are too often neglected in diplomatic affairs. I cleared my throat, backing toward a table stacked with fruits shaped suspiciously like parts of human anatomy. Princess, I mean Velthari, I think there's been a cultural miscommunication. She stood, graceful and gleaming. There has not. You admired. I offered. You accepted. I claimed. This is binding, Jake of Terra. I tried logic. Back on Earth, thinking something doesn't count as a contract. Trust me, if it did, most men would be serving life sentences. She tilted her head. So your people think, but do not intend? Constantly. She clicked her tongue. Fascinating. Then your culture is founded on lies. More like wishful thinking, I muttered. Still, she didn't seem angry. If anything, she was entertained. She was smirking the whole time, her tail swishing with far too much amusement. I will study your species deeper, she declared, stepping close. You shall assist. You mean like, academically? She licked her lips. That depends on how you define oral presentation. My soul left my body. Look, I didn't mean to propose. Your tail did a thing, and I thought a thing, and now suddenly I'm supposed to provide a moon as a dowry? She raised one elegant brow. Yes. Or a functioning starship. With hot water. I will not mate in discomfort. Of course not, I muttered. That'd be insane. She placed a hand on my shoulder, claws gentle but firm. You do not understand. I chose you. You belong to me now. I shall educate you in Zalari affection techniques. You will require stamina injections. I'm sorry, what now? I have summoned the fertility shaman. She will arrive shortly. There's a shaman? There's always a shaman. I looked around the room. The lights dimmed. The air turned thick. Scented. Too scented. Some part of my brain screamed, Jake, this is a trap with pheromones and legally binding lust. But another part whispered, dude, alien princess. This is a once-in-a-lifetime bed and bureaucracy combo. Still, I needed answers. So, what happens if I don't go along with this? She didn't flinch. That would cause offense to my bloodline. You would be tried as a heart thief and sentenced to life service, pleasing spinsters of the court. They're untrained. Aggressively so. Suddenly, the princess looked like the less dangerous option. You could have warned me, I muttered. I did, she smiled. With my tail. Right. Of course. Tail flick equals intergalactic prenup. She stepped back, tail brushing against me casually. Or not so casually. You will learn fast. Or I will make you learn slow. There it was, the line between comedy and chaos, and I had tripped over it in a mental banana peel. I turned, pacing. Okay. Let's say I agree. Hypothetically. What's next? She clapped once. A dozen attendants entered carrying ceremonial oils, ceremonial restraints, and what looked like a 10-step manual titled First Night with Your Human. Tease, tame, taste. Oh no. Oh yes. She grinned. And you thought my rear was impressive? Wait until you see what it can do when pleased. Jake. Okay, let me get this straight. I looked at your backside, thought one inappropriate thing, and now I'm the Duke of Baland? Trya. Technically Grand Consort of the 5th moon of Zilkareth, but your translation device is primitive. Baland works. Jake. I was just admiring the architecture. It wasn't a marriage proposal. Trya. Your admiration was loud. Mental waves projected on the 34th spectrum. My people receive those like mating songs. Yours was compelling. Jake. So now what? We just shack up. Trya. Yes. For life. Until death or planetary implosion. Whichever comes first. Jake. You're enjoying this way too much. Trya. I'm royalty. I rarely get compliments about my tale without ulterior motives. You, however, were unfiltered and sincere. Crude. But sincere. Jake. I want a divorce. Trya. Impossible. You'd have to challenge the High Matron in single combat. She eats lava. Jake. Any chance of annulment if we, don't consummate this? Trya. We consummated the moment you imagined oiling my tail. Jake. That was a thought. Trya. On Zilkareth, thoughts are binding. Mental intimacy precedes physical intimacy. You're already deep inside, metaphorically. Jake. And literally? Trya. We'll get there. Jake. Okay, fine. Say I accept this intergalactic mess. What's the catch? Trya. You must provide a dowry. Jake. Let me guess. Gold? Gems? A herd of whatever passes for cows in your dimension? Trya. A habitable moon. Jake. What now? Trya. Or a spaceship with hot water and at least 4 gravity-adjusted bathing chambers. Your people are resourceful. Jake. I'm a mechanic. I fix broken vending machines. Trya. Perfect. Our moon's hydroprocessors are failing. Fix those and it's yours. And by extension mine. And by further extension us. Jake. I feel like I tripped and fell into cosmic alimony. Trya. You fell into me. Repeatedly. In your thoughts. Jake. Let's not bring those up again. Trya. Too late. I archived them in the sacred library. Elders wept. Jake. They wept? Trya. With envy. Jake. That's actually kind of flattering. Also terrifying. Trya. You're adapting well. Your species has emotional flexibility. And impressive stamina. Jake. That was from me fixing a water heater for 12 hours, not foreplay. Trya. Foreplay on Zilkareth includes plumbing. It shows long-term commitment. Jake. This is insane. Trya. Welcome to marriage. Jake. So what's life like with a tail-flicking alien queen who thinks my brain noises are proposals? Trya. First, we schedule our bonding ritual. It involves sand wrestling. Jake. I have sensitive skin. Trya. Second, you'll attend weekly tail grooming. As my husband, you're responsible for maintaining its luster. Jake. And if I refuse? Tria. It's considered grounds for duel. I win. You purr. Jake. That's oddly specific. Tria. I read your thoughts. You're into strong women and soft touches. I'm both. Jake. You really read everything in there? Tria. Even the thing about the whipped cream and emergency oxygen masks. Jake. I was drunk and watching cooking shows in zero gravity. Tria. No judgment. Just interest. Jake. Let's talk about this dowry again. What if I can't get a moon? Tria. Then we'll start with a modest asteroid belt, work our way up. Jake. Does it come with furniture? Tria. You provide the furniture. I'll provide the nightly negotiations. Jake. Define negotiations. Tria. You plead for rest. I persuade otherwise. Jake. You're relentless. Tria. So are your thoughts. You fantasized about tail cuddling in hyperspace. Jake. I didn't even know that was a thing. Tria. It is now. Thanks to you. Jake. So we're married. You've claimed me mentally. Now I owe you real estate and massages. Tria. Correct. And foot rubs. Don't forget the ritual talon polish. Jake. How many rituals do you people have? Tria. For bonding? 37. For pleasure? Uncountable. Jake. I think I need a cold shower. Tria. I programmed your ship to deliver warm mist scented with aphrodisiacs. You're welcome. Jake. Is nothing sacred? Tria. Only your loyalty. And perhaps your hip movements. Jake. This is going to be the weirdest honeymoon in galactic history. Tria. Not if you embrace it. Open your mind. And possibly your thighs. Jake. I thought your people courted with poetry and ritual dances. Tria. Only for strangers. You're mine. Straight to the tail ceremonies. Jake. You're serious. Tria. I'm royal. I don't joke. Jake. Then why does it feel like the universe just pantsed me and laughed? Tria. Because fate has a sense of humor. And a tail kink. Jake. I give up. Where do I start? Tria. With the tail massage. Use both hands. And maybe your tongue. It earns bonus moons. Jake. How many moons until I get a break? Tria. Never. You married the tail. You serve the tail. Praise be the tail. Jake. If my friends hear about this. Tria. They'll be jealous. Unless they enjoy lonely nights and inferior rumps. Jake. I hate how right you are. Tria. That's marriage. A union of love, lust, sarcasm, and strategic tail presentation. Jake. And somehow I'm the lucky one? Tria. The luckiest. Now fetch the oils. You have a duty to perform. Again. Jake. This is going to be a long, slippery marriage. Tria. Slippery is how we like it. Jake's first morning as an intergalactic husband started with a bang, literally. A ceremonial cannon fired outside his window, startling him out of bed, nearly naked, tangled in what he assumed was either silk or an alien's molted skin. Neither option comforted him. Nara was already dressed, sort of. Alien fashion, apparently, meant strategic see-through and suggestive straps designed more for distraction than discretion. She greeted him with a kiss that was less, good morning, and more. Prepare for round 2. You'll present your dowry at the bonding feast, she said, slipping a necklace around his neck with a smirk. Something symbolic of your potency. I recommend something big. Jake blinked. Potency? Like testosterone or GDP? Yes, she replied, unbothered. After a failed attempt to convince the Imperial Council that his Earth Gym membership card symbolized human strength, Jake was informed that if he didn't offer something of actual value, a moon, an energy core, or a pre-owned star cruiser with heated seats, the royal family would repossess his manhood rights. He didn't ask what that meant, but one of the guards winked. Later, while Nara sat cross-legged on his lap during an official marriage update livestream to 2.4 billion viewers, Jake tried to explain Earth customs. "We don't usually propose through thoughts about butts," he muttered. Her tail twitched. "Then how do you stake a claim? Scent marking?" Jake nearly choked on his alien cocktail, which tasted like soda water and commitment. Diplomacy didn't help. Nara's species believed thoughts were sacred. The fact that Jake had reverently admired her posterior from 3 feet away, with mental commentary bordering on worship, was considered a vow of permanent union. And her mother, the Empress, chimed in via holoscreen. "You accepted her sacred tail flick. That's more binding than a marriage license and twice as permanent." Jake was now royalty by lustful accident. He tried to talk logistics. "Look, I'm just a maintenance tech. The only thing I own is a toaster that burns everything and a couch with stuffing coming out." Nara smiled proudly. "Then you will gift me Earth's moon." Jake laughed nervously. "Ha! No." Silence. "You refuse the sacred dowry?" one elder gasped. "No, no! I just need time. Bureaucracy. Lunar zoning laws. You know, Earth stuff." They nodded solemnly, misunderstanding completely. To save face, and his backside, Jake promised a symbolic placeholder. With zero budget and even less time, he asked Nara what kind of gift would impress the Empire. Something hard. Something that endures. Something that says this man can build a future. Jake ended up presenting a rock. Not just any rock. A fist-sized, lava-glazed paperweight from Earth's most active volcano. He mounted it on a stick, called it the Phallus of Prometheus, and gave a speech so passionate and weirdly sincere that Nara nearly burst into tears. The Empress called it primitive genius. One senator asked if it vibrated. During the after-feast, Nara pulled him aside and purred. "You may now claim your wedding rights. My chamber's gravity will be adjusted to encourage thrusting." Jake blinked. Is this where I say I do or oh God?" "Either will suffice," she said, taking him by the waistband. Things escalated quickly. Alien anatomy was a riddle wrapped in mystery covered in scales, but Jake had always been a fast learner. Every new sound she made boosted his intergalactic street cred. He didn't know if they were mating cries or battle chants, but his ego translated them as applause. Mid-passion, her tail wrapped around his neck. "You are officially one of us now," she whispered. "Your body belongs to the realm." Jake gasped. "Does the realm offer health insurance?" Later, as he lay sprawled and exhausted, Nara ran a claw along his chest. "Tell me more about your Earth rituals. You said something about, what was it, Netflix and mating?" "Netflix and chill." She sat up. "Does it involve pain?" "Only if you pick the wrong movie." She demanded a demonstration. Jake queued up a romantic comedy. 15 minutes in, she was confused, aroused, and offended. "Why do humans lie to each other and then kiss over misunderstandings? Is this foreplay?" "Sort of." "Then show me Earth-style foreplay." Jake did. Twice. With closed captions on. Over the next few cycles, Jake got used to being an accidental royal spouse. He attended ceremonies, signed treaties he didn't understand, and was frequently asked to flex masculinely for diplomatic photos. One interspecies envoy tried to court him, assuming he was now a breeder prince. Nara nearly clawed their face off. Jake was flattered. Also slightly scared. In private moments, they started to talk more seriously. About his home. About her duties. About what, forever, meant when one of them had a 90-year lifespan and the other regenerated every decade. "Do you regret it?" he asked her once, watching stars outside their quarters. "Your thought made me feel desired," she whispered. "No one ever saw me, not like that. You saw me fully. You lusted with all." He chuckled. "I mean, yeah, it's a great." She put a finger on his lips. "It wasn't just your thought. It was the honesty of it. It was pure." Jake didn't know what to say. So he said the first thing that came to mind. Wanna do it again? She grinned, tail flicking. Thought you'd never ask, husband. And just like that, the galaxy spun on. I woke up in a bed that was way too soft for a bounty hunter, wrapped in blankets that smelled like starflower perfume and bad decisions. My hand was resting on something warm and smooth. Her tail flicked under my fingers like it had a mind of its own. You're getting handsy again. Lyrala purred from the pillow beside me, not opening her eyes. That's grounds for a third offspring pact. I don't even know what that means, I groaned. Do you have a manual for your mating customs, or are we just winging it? She rolled over and pinned me with those glowing amethyst eyes. Winging it? That's what your thoughts were doing when you stared at my rear. This is just the logical outcome. I was appreciating the aesthetic, not asking for a lifetime subscription. She slid a leg over my hip and smirked. Too bad. You already clicked auto-renew. I sighed and rubbed my temples. So let me get this straight. If I don't provide your people with a dowry, they'll assume you're impotent. I'm not. Okay, wow. Why does everything have to be tied to my virility with your species? Because you stared at my tail like it was your last meal. That's not just rude on Zelaria. It's a proposal. Well, Earth doesn't have tail etiquette. I shot back. She leaned in closer. You're lucky I like the clueless ones. The door hissed open and a three-eyed elder floated in, humming some ceremonial tune while carrying what looked like a legal-sized energy scroll and a bottle of champagne. Human, your contract of union has been notarized in 3 dimensions, the elder chirped. Congratulations. Also, may I suggest you begin the honeymoon phase immediately? He winked. One of his 3 eyes blinked sideways. I was still trying to figure out if it was an insult or a dare. Lyrala giggled and bit my earlobe. Shall we begin? The moon you offered is lovely, but I still want to test how many times you can orbit me in one night. Is that another metaphor? No. I'm being extremely literal. I looked to the elder. Is there a loophole to get out of this? Only if the bride deems you sexually unsatisfactory. Would you like to request a trial failure? Lyrala narrowed her eyes. Go ahead. Try. I gulped. No thank you. I like being alive. The elder bowed and exited, leaving me alone with my very enthusiastic alien bride and no viable escape. She dragged a single claw along my chest, slow and deliberate. If it makes you feel better, she whispered, I only claimed you because your thoughts were loud. You said mine was the best tale you'd seen in 12-star systems. You read that? Oh yes. And the part about wanting to bounce quarters off it. I didn't know what a quarter was, but I liked the energy. I laughed despite myself. That was meant to be internal commentary. Well, now it's our forever policy. I leaned back, exhausted and aroused and slightly terrified. So what now? You rule a star empire, and I fix junk freighters and chase bounty gigs. What do we even have in common? She curled beside me, her tail wrapping around my leg. You liked my rear. I liked your thoughts. And you made me laugh when you insulted the priest judge. That was accidental. I didn't know he was sacred. You called his tentacles hot dog fingers. In front of the planetary council. Yeah. That one's gonna haunt me. She snorted and pressed her forehead to mine. Then you're perfect for me. Somewhere in orbit, my AI assistant pinged with a transmission alert. It was the Galactic Court of Matrimonial Enforcement. They'd already added her last name to my ID chip. I didn't even sign anything. Lyrala hummed a soft tune and whispered, Your new ship is being prepared. It has hot water. I can't afford that. You married up. Congratulations. I stared at the ceiling and muttered, All this because I admired one damn tale. She purred. That's how all good space love stories begin. Just then, her mother called in via hologram. A 6-armed empress with the presence of a supernova appeared in the air above us. Daughter. Consort. We are expecting progeny within 7 moon cycles. I have already summoned the fertility physicians. I sputtered. Hold on, what? Last night. How does that even work? Lyrala rolled over, completely unfazed. You'll adjust. Human biology is surprisingly compatible. The Empress nodded approvingly. Excellent hips. Thanks, I guess. You'll be required to name the firstborn after a family relic. May I suggest Destroyer of Stars or Snugglebeast? Lyrala giggled. Snugglebeast. That's going in the baby registry. I rubbed my eyes and mumbled. My mom is going to have a heart attack. Lyrala leaned over me, pinning me with that same mischievous smirk that started this whole mess. Relax. You're not losing a life. You're gaining an empire. Yeah, and a tail that apparently comes with legal bindings. She kissed me. That's marriage, darling. Now, about that second round. I groaned into the pillow. Do I at least get a safe word? She traced my chest with a claw. Of course. It's hot dog fingers. Of course it is. And with that, I officially accepted my fate. I was now the unwilling consort of a tail-flicking alien empress, expected to produce heirs, provide planetary real estate, and remember to compliment her backside daily, verbally, not mentally. The worst part? I was starting to like it.